All right, let's talk about one of the most iconic plants out there, the eucalyptus. It's this fascinating tree that's just as gorgeous and fragrant as it is, well, kind of wild and maybe even a little bit dangerous. So we're going to journey from its ancient, fiery roots in Australia all the way to how you can actually tame a little piece of that wildness for your own home. And honestly, this quote it nails it, doesn't it? Beautiful, weird, and terrifying. It perfectly captures the split personality of this plant. I mean, think about it. On one hand, you've got this plant that's all about calming essential oils and looking chic in a vase. But on the other hand, yeah, it's a master of fire and survival. It's wild.
So to really get what eucalyptus is all about, we've got to go back to where it all began, Australia. And this is where the story gets interesting, because it didn't just adapt to the landscape there. No, it learned how to completely dominate it, and sometimes in some pretty aggressive ways.
And just look at this timeline for a second. The scale we're talking about here is mind-blowing. This isn't some new kid on the block. We're talking fossils from 52 million years ago, back when Australia was part of the supercontinent Gondwana. These trees have seen it all. They're like these ancient guardians of the continent, and today they cover most of Australia's forests. Just wow.
Okay, so remember that terrifying part of the quote? This is where it comes in. The eucalyptus is what you call a pyrophyte, which is just a fancy way of saying it has this super close, super strategic relationship with fire. You know, most plants see fire and they're gone. Eucalyptus, it practically runs towards it.
And the secret weapon? It's the oil. Its leaves are just dripping with this super flammable oil. Now that sounds totally suicidal, right? But it's actually this brilliant, if not a little ruthless, survival strategy. See, the oil makes the fire burn incredibly hot and incredibly fast. So fast, the fire zips right past, often without even touching the core of the tree, which is safe behind its thick bark. And in the meantime, poof, all the competition is just gone, incinerated. And what's left is this perfect ash-filled nursery for its own seeds to sprout. It literally burns the neighborhood down to give its kids the best start in life. How wild is that?
So, okay, it's this fire-loving, aggressive tree. But that's not the whole story. For all that wildness, the eucalyptus is also unbelievably diverse. We're not just talking about one kind of giant fire tree here. And it's this amazing variety that actually makes it possible for us to bring a little piece of it into our own lives and our own gardens.
Get this, there are over 800 different species of eucalyptus. That number is just staggering. I mean, the variety in this one family is huge. You've got some of the tallest trees in the world, and then you have these cute little shrubs that would be perfect for your backyard.
And this just shows you that incredible range perfectly. On one side, you've got the mountain ash, an absolute colossus. The tallest one still standing, they call it Centurion, is over 100 meters tall. Then, way over on the other end of the spectrum, you have the little varnish gum, a shrub that's maybe about as tall as you are. It's the same family, but they are worlds apart.
And it's not just about size either. The variety is just stunning. There's the rainbow eucalyptus. I mean, it literally looks like an artist painted the bark. Then you've got the ghost gum, this pale, almost otherworldly tree that seems to glow in the dark. And the ironbark, which looks all rough and tough on the outside but hides this brilliant red color underneath. They're all so unique.
So are you feeling inspired yet? Thinking you might want to grow one yourself? Well, the good news is you totally can. But I'll tell you right now, the first thing you're going to need is a good dose of patience. So let's talk about how to get these things started from seed. 150 to 200. That's about how many days it takes for a eucalyptus plant to get big enough to harvest. Yeah, it's a slow burn, especially when they're little. This is not a plant you can just pop in the dirt in spring and expect to see results by summer. You definitely have to play the long game here.
Okay, so here's your game plan. You'll want to start those seeds early. I'm talking December, maybe January, to give them a really long runway. And you don't need to get all fancy with the soil. A simple potting mix will do just fine. Now the real key is light. You got to keep those grow lights just a few inches above the seedlings. Otherwise they'll get all stretched out and leggy. And probably the most important tip, be super gentle when you repot them. They have really sensitive roots, so as soon as you see those little roots poking out the bottom, it's time to gently move them to a bigger home. Okay, so you did it. Your seeds sprouted, you have a little baby eucalyptus plant. Awesome. Now comes the next challenge. How do you keep it happy and thriving? Let's dive into the care guide for these guys when they're in a pot.
So here's a little secret. The most common reason a potted eucalyptus doesn't make it is, well, it's just user error, basically. But don't panic. The good news is these plants are ridiculously tough. They're survivors at heart. So even if yours starts looking a little unhappy, there's a really good chance you can bring it back with just a few little tweaks.
Think of this as your little eucalyptus SOS chart. Seeing the yellow leaves? 9 times out of 10, you're giving it too much water. Just make sure the pot can drain and let that soil dry out a bit. Leaves falling off the tips of the branches, it's probably thirsty. But if the leaves are dropping from the bottom of the plant, it's begging you for more light. Seriously, this little cheat sheet will solve most of your problems.
So, to sum it all up, just think about where it comes from. Sunny, Australia. That means light, light, and more light. Give it at least 6 hours of direct sun. The soil needs to drain really well, so add some perlite or sand. Let it get pretty dry before you water it again, especially once it's established. And don't be shy about pot size. They have big root systems. Oh, and the big one. Keep it away from frost. Most of them just can't handle the cold.
And now, we get to the really rewarding part. After all that time and all that care, you finally get to enjoy what you've grown. So let's talk about how to harvest those amazing stems.
Okay, when it's time to cut, my best advice is be bold. Don't be afraid to chop off some big branches. Seriously, this plant loves it. It's built to be pruned, and it'll just come back stronger. Once you've got your cuttings, it's super easy. Just tie them up in a bundle, hang them upside down somewhere dark and dry, like the back of a closet, and forget about them for 2 or 3 weeks. And that's it. You've got these gorgeous, amazing-smelling stems for arrangements, wreaths, or, hey, just stick them in a vase. Done.
So it's kind of cool when you think about it, right? We take this ancient, fire-loving giant from Australia and we bring it right into our living rooms. We put it in a pot, we trim it, we arrange its branches. But it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? As we're enjoying that amazing smell and its beautiful leaves, have we really tamed it? Or are we just getting to borrow a tiny piece of its wild, fiery spirit for a little while? Something to think about next time you see one.